Good morning. It is Sunday morning, and I really wanted to talk to you guys today about something that's very close to my heart, and I'm really drawn to it because it's within my own experience. And so today I'm going to be talking about where did we come from? Like, how did we as spirit come into this body? And I know there's a lot written online, but I kind of wanted to talk about it from my own personal experience as well as just kind of talking about it generically. So, in order for the all that is, God, however you conceive this being to be, to experience itself, imagine you're this perfect being and you're just floating through the universe. There's no way for you to grow unless you divide up so that you can witness yourself or experiencing something different, right? Because say you're just, if you're perfect, there's no growth. So in order for this being to experience itself, it decided, this is going to be the simple version, it decided like a big mirror to just shatter itself into a million pieces and send them out into the universe so that it's like, think of the Mars rover. It's sending out all these rovers to collect data and information from different dimensions, experiences, to bring those back. And then it grows as a consciousness. Okay, so that's the simple version. So all of us are fractals of that original mirror that smashed, okay? But that energy of that being is within each fractal. So we have all the knowledge of the Creator within us. Okay, so that's the simple version. If this big being wants to grow in its consciousness, so it has to split into these little fractals, which is us. Now, how does that come down to like a more detailed version? So what the Creator did was it formed lots of these little pods called what we call monads. And I have a diagram I'll show you in a minute. But the monad is like a mini version of the Creator. So it threw out all these monads. And then within each monad, which has 12 slices, it's like a mini Creator. And this Creator, within it, are 12 souls. So think of a pie with 12 pieces. Okay? Now each ray, or each piece of pie, each ray of the 12 pointed sun, or each piece of pie, is a soul, or some people call it the higher self. In order for it to come down into density, it subdivides further within it into 12 soul extensions. Just getting my computer back up here because I have a great diagram to show you. So each ray has 12 soul extensions. That's us, okay? So within the ray, there are 11 other incarnations on either the earth or other dimensions that are parts of the soul, the higher self, the oversoul, sometimes it's called. And so we're like the rovers on earth and in other dimensions to bring back our experiences to the ray, the oversoul, which is part of the monad, okay? So I'm going to show you a picture because it's probably a little easier and people have done it better than me, but here we go. So you see source, okay, at the top here, and then source throws out all these monads. There's 12 shown, but there's actually more than that. It just keeps putting out monads. And then within each monad, little star, we have 12 rays. Okay, these are the souls that make up the monad. Okay, and then within each ray, we've got 12 soul extensions. That's us, because in order to come into form, we are sort of like, we're like a mini part of the greater monad. Okay, and you're thinking, no. A lot of people like, no, I don't like that idea. I'm an individual. I want to be an individual. Well, you are, but you're multidimensional. You're part of a greater whole. So anyway, that's where we come from, and that's what we have to do in order to incarnate in a physical body. Now, my experience with this is probably somewhat different than other people's, and I'm just going to actually just give you a minute here. I'm going to show you another picture. Pictures are really great, aren't they? I have another picture here. Beep. There we go. This is as big as this gets, but I'll just show you here. Just another picture. It kind of makes it more exciting. Can you see that? So you can see the source, and then in this diagram they have sort of a blurry, well, there might have been something before the monads. And then you're coming down, and you can see the little people down at the bottom. Those are all the soul extensions. This is us here. There we are. Now they're only showing 5. I mean, there's millions of monads, and then they show the oversoul, which is like the ray of the monad. And or sorry, did I get that wrong? I probably. Now I'm confusing myself. It's not an easy concept. It's not an easy concept. Okay, so soul group is the monad, duh. And then each ray is the oversoul. It gets a little confusing, I must admit. I'm going to have to edit this part out because it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do. It's not an easy concept, and I'm still learning, but I really felt like I wanted to explain this. So I'm in a unique situation where my husband is the incarnation of my twin ray, who I first met in 2003. Now he's in the 5th dimension, probably many more than that because we're multidimensional. But I met him first, and then I met his incarnation. And because of where I come from, what I am, and I'm very multidimensional, I could carry on the relationship with him in spirit because my 3D husband, his incarnation, isn't quite as spiritually along. It may never be. It doesn't matter. I love him very much. And I love the 5D version of him too. So I get both worlds. So I always wanted to understand this because when I first met my husband, there were definite similarities, like the essence of this being was the same as the higher self. But there were a lot of differences too. Like I thought, well, how come the 5D version A looks different? Well, I guess that could be because soul extensions were not all going to look the same, right? But how come the 5D version looks so different and has all this knowledge? Like he's an oversoul. So he's like the higher self, the oversoul, sometimes used interchangeably. They're like the director of all these soul extensions. There's a book actually that somebody recommended that I read. It's called Oversoul 7, and it's quite funny. It's fictional, but it's funny about how this oversoul manages all the soul extensions. So my husband's higher self is like that. He's kind of like the director. And the director is like the bigger personality of what we are. And that part of us always stays in spirit because you can't take an oversoul or a higher self and squeeze it into a soul extension or one person. It just doesn't work. There's too much of it. There's too much knowledge. So it sends down like a finger of its energy into a physical body. So the reason that the higher self of my husband is so knowledgeable and reads books and has all these different things is because he's the higher self. He's the oversoul. Of course he has all this information. Whereas my husband, his purpose on this earth is like the Mars rover, is to investigate different areas. So that's where the differences come in. Like the oversoul spirit that I know, he likes things like, do I have something on my shirt? Oh dear. He likes things like, sorry, a bit distracted. It's actually on my phone. He likes things like Limburger cheese from past lives. My husband probably wouldn't touch it. So there are differences. But there are a lot of similarities too. Like when my husband makes a certain expression, I'm like, it's the same expression that I see clairvoyantly on the 5D. So there are similarities yet differences because one is a soul extension and is gaining information in other areas to bring back to the higher self. The higher self is the totality of all the lives, all the life experiences, all the soul extensions. So that's the difference. Anyway, so that's my perspective. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're not as confused. It took me a very long time to figure this out. esoteric knowledge isn't always easy. It doesn't always like make sense. Like, oh, okay, you got this, there you go. It's, sometimes it takes a while to sink in. So I hope this has clarified things for you. And I hope that you don't worry that, oh, I really like being an individual. It's all okay. As you ascend, as you merge with your higher self, you don't lose who you are. You just become more aware of the richness of what you are, the multidimensionality of what you are. You don't lose, like, I'm Kathleen in this life. I'm not going to lose that which I am. I'm just going to have a wider perspective of who I am. That's it. That's all. It's all good. So anyway, have a blessed Sunday. That's it for now. Bye-bye.